Hello, Eastern Nation, and welcome to At the Half. Today, I'm sitting with a woman with a plethora of titles, Director of Diversity and Inclusion, Athletic Academic Counselor, and Title IX Coordinator for Athletics, Ashlee Williams. Ashlee, thank you so much for taking a couple minutes to talk with us today.
Yes, good morning. I'm so glad to be here. It's really exciting to be on this team and make this transition. So thanks for making the time to talk.
Absolutely. So Ashlee, I know you're from North Carolina originally, got your schooling done at UNC Greensboro, great school, and in Seattle. First off, what brought you to Eastern University?
Honestly, an Eastern alum that still works here. So Allie Rosario in marketing. I was looking for a church. I was living in the Fairmount Strawberry Mansion area of Philly and happened upon this church 5 blocks from my house. Started going there, and then just in conversation, getting to know people, Allie suggested that I come and apply to Eastern. And I did, and it's been history ever since.
Because you started on the other side. You were with admissions and student development, right? Kind of doing the things you're doing now. Great.
Exactly.
So I guess my next question is, I know we talked about it a little bit when you came on, but what made you want to make the switch from student development and admissions to come over to athletics?
I think honestly, being the Dean of Students was great, but it is an administrative role more so, and I really wanted to be able to get back in touch with our students in a way that allowed me to be more vulnerable with them, to have more conversations with them, more daily interactions. I also am a education person. I love learning, I love teaching, and a lot of the parts of this new role allow me to do that more in depth. So there's more focus on teaching and that one-on-one relationship building.
Absolutely. So obviously you have multiple titles. Kind of briefly talk about what all those are. I know a little bit about Title IX, obviously, the academic part as well, but kind of talk about in your own words what your roles are, because you have a lot of them here.
Oh my goodness, yes. So I think the big thing is really just that relationship piece, honestly. So I think when we think about academic counseling, it sounds really boring, and sometimes it is. I would never tell a tale. But I think that building relationships with people, helping them set goals is a big thing for that piece of the job. Oftentimes that looks like going to study halls, putting on workshops for people to learn different skills to help them be more successful. And then really just trying to be almost like a referral case manager kind of person, because if you're not doing well in life, it's going to be really hard for you to do well in school.
Absolutely.
And then the diversity and inclusion piece, I think, is really trying to just tap in and hone in on what are the things that are going to help us connect better with each other and have more difficult conversations in a way that we don't feel defensive or in a way that allows us to be honest, but still received well. And so right now I'm looking into what kind of events, what kind of programming can we do for that, and how can we put some systems into place when things don't go the way that we hoped, that we can take care of people. And then a lot of the Title IX stuff is similar to that. We have the It's On Us grant at Eastern, which is amazing. We've gotten quite a bit of funding for that. So just trying to get a meditation space up off the ground and working on that.
That's great stuff. That's great stuff. Do you feel like you're settling in okay? Obviously, I mean, you're making a transition, yes, but you're coming from one department to the other. Do you feel like you're settling in here on the athletics side pretty well here
Definitely.
so far?
Yeah, I think the really unique and fun thing about athletics is that team kind of culture really bleeds through, whether you're an administrator, a coach, it doesn't really matter. And I think that's been the best part of working over here is everyone's so friendly and welcoming, and everything is kind of like an all hands on deck approach. So even the days where I'm like, how many roles do I have? This feels like a really long name. There's people that are super supportive and honestly funny. A lot of the people make a lot of great jokes, which is helpful when you're tired.
I will say, as someone who's been here for a year, this is a very, very tight-knit department. So you talked about it a little bit, but what's a day in the life kind of for you? Because you do wear all these different hats. You're here long days. As much as you're able to elaborate, what's kind of a typical day in the life of Ashlee Williams?
I think honestly it starts out with planning. So I will kind of look at what are the next 2 months going to look like in terms of events. I'll do some work and coordination around that. Meetings to try to build relationships across campus so that the work that we're doing in athletics is accessible. Meeting with students, so lots of student appointments during the day, and then in the evenings, that's when we're doing study halls, and then actually executing the events that we're planning to help people learn.
And as you have probably heard several what seems like 100 times. This is the biggest incoming group in the incoming freshman class in the history of Eastern. Talk about the challenge of that and how you've been able to tackle that, because obviously you're seeing a lot of kids, not just with football, but with all across all the athletics. So kind of talk about how you tackle those challenges, especially in such a big year as this one is, 2022-23.
I think the biggest thing is making it about what they need, not what I think they need, or about one specific thing. So my approach has really been trying to set aside specific time for students to be able to drop in, to make appointments, going to places that they might be, like popping in at a game or an event, and then asking them, what can I help you with?
Absolutely.
And I think that really allows me to manage my time well also, because if their main issue is, I don't know how to buy my books, but I spent 45 minutes talking about something else with them, and then we have 5 minutes left, it didn't really help, and then I'm asking them to come back, which is hard for them.
Oh, I remember being in college student, I remember those days. It can be it's tough. Yes, it's hard.
So I think focusing in on what is it that you need specifically in those conversations, and then thinking about what are the things that were hard for me. So, for example, last night I did a workshop on outlining written assignments, and we actually used one of the first major assignments that students miss in their INST 150 class or don't get great points on. So now they're set up. Assignment's not due until October 6th. We're a few weeks ahead. So even if they're a procrastinator, when it's 8 p.m. that night, they're going to be ready to go.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I think you kind of alluded to it a little bit, Ashlee, but is that the most rewarding part for you, to be in all the jobs that you're working, all the titles you had, to be able to work with students and help them navigate college, which can be so tough for a lot of young people?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I think being young is like such an exciting thing, but because
I wish I was young again. We all wish we were young, right? No, I agree. Yes, absolutely.
But there's so much excitement that you're being pulled in 1,000 directions, and I think being able to see them live their lives to the fullest, but also accomplish their goals, that's the rewarding piece. Because then they're not getting like lost in the shuffle of being young and having all these opportunities.
Absolutely. And then my last question, Ashlee, thank you so much for your time. It's been great to talk with you for a couple of minutes here. In this role, what are your goals, and what are you looking to do in this role that you have taken on here with Eastern Athletics?
Yeah, I think one of my goals for athletic counseling is to really think about how do we create systems that help students be successful without having to be stressed, right? Like, stress is real. And I think even more so as like academics and life has changed after a pandemic, social unrest, all these things. So I think that whole phrase, like, work smarter, not harder, that's one of my goals, is to help the students really do that well. And then I think the other piece would be really just continuing to highlight the ways that our community is so great through our values and who we are. And I think that's where that diversity and equity and Title IX piece comes in. This is a really strong community that loves each other, and I think any ways that we can highlight that and continue to like grow what that looks like in real life, that's the goal.
Absolutely. Ashlee, thank you so much for taking a couple minutes today. Now, back to your game.
Thank you.